What is going on, all you wonderful A-plusers out there? It is I, Stuart, here, once again with another A-plus Hero Report. Unfortunately, no Adam today. Once again, having some issues with his laptop. Hopefully, we'll get Indy in here at some point later today, but that we'll keep. We'll see as the show goes on. But yeah, get ready, everyone, for another exciting episode of A-plus Hero Report. All right, that awkward intro out of the way. Before I delve into anything, I'm just going to take a look at some of our comments, some of the people in the comment section. So we got Ricky Perez. Hey, Adam, saw some new character posters along with the first look clip of the upcoming Smurfs animated movie, and it will arrive in theaters on July 18th. Okay, so that is another movie to compete with the big three. The big three, of course, being Jurassic World, Fantastic Four First Steps, and Superman. Obviously, I don't think Smurfs is going to quite do those numbers, but I think it's good to have like kind of a movie, aimed at a really young audience. So that way, if you have someone who's maybe a bit too young to really appreciate either of those three, you can take into the Smurfs. Everyone can appreciate the Smurfs. Also, Thursday was 626 Day, aka Stitch Day. That it's confirmed that a sequel to the live-action Lilo Stitch movie is in development by Disney. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't watch the live-action Lilo and Stitch movie, but I walked in on parts of it because, of course, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I work at the Alamo Draft House, and that means that I constantly run food in and out of the theaters. So I always see like parts of movies, even if I don't actually like sit down and watch the whole movie. Lilo and Stitch is one of those. And I gotta say, as much as I love the animation for Stitch, I think he looks absolutely adorable. And I think it's perfectly faithful to the original movie. Man, this movie doesn't look good. Mainly, I think the main thing that throws me off about this is Gontu himself. Like, he's voiced by Zach Galifianakis, who has done good voice work in the past. Like, he voiced the Joker in the Lego Batman movie, and I think he did a fantastic job. But like hearing him as Gontu, and no, it's not because he doesn't do the Russian accent. It's just there's just something about his delivery in that movie. It's like just one of the worst voice performances I've heard from a movie of that caliber. So not like the worst voice performance I've ever heard ever, but for a movie with that budget, it's one of the worst performances I've ever heard. And it mostly just comes down to he sounds bored. Every time he talks, when he's trying to sound menacing, he sounds bored. So it's just, I might see this movie when it comes to Disney Plus, but yeah, like with every live action Disney movie, I just did not care. But I'll give credit where credit is due. The animation for Stitch was great. But that's about as far as I'll give it credit for. Also, last Friday, I saw a new 1 hour SpongeBob SquarePants special titled SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist Up. It features some timeline moments from season 1, including the pilot episode. I might have to go back and watch that. That is, when did I get, like, when did I stop watching SpongeBob? Because I think it was a mixture of two things. I think one, I just, got too old to watch it at some point, maybe middle school. Oh God, am I frozen? Okay, it looks like I'm back. Oh, nope, looks like I'm frozen again. My computer is freezing up on me. Hopefully you guys can still hear me, even if my face is frozen. Or what was I saying? I was saying something about SpongeBob related. Oh, right. So I kind of stopped watching, like, I want to say I stopped watching when I started middle school. But then at the same time, when I stopped watching, it wasn't just because I was outgrowing it. It was also because the show was really changing. Like, its art style had taken a completely new direction. And then it just like the humor was kind of the same. It's just like the gags relied more on the I guess it kind of relied more on the animation as like it went on, and less on like the writing and the jokes themselves. But yeah, it just, yeah, obviously, kids still love SpongeBob because it's still going and has like several spin-offs. But yeah, I think that was about the time that I personally stopped watching. All right, and finally, on July 1st and July 2nd, Nickelodeon is going to premiere the Boss Baby 2017 and Secret Life of Pets 2 ahead of the premiere of Dora and the Search for Soul, Dordo. Yeah, okay, cool. I've never seen either Bots Babies or any of either the Secret Lives of Pets movies. But yeah, that's cool that they're premiering on Nickelodeon. And also, finally, tomorrow makes the 30th anniversary of the first Power Rangers movies, or MMPR movie for short. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I might use that as an excuse to watch it. Yeah, it's fun. It's dumb, but it's fun. I think I don't even know if I should make this joke on here. I'm going to. Screw it. I'm not going to lie, man. The Power Rangers movie was probably one of my sexual awakenings because of the badass Amazon that they run into on that planet. God, I can't even remember the name of the planet they go to, but the one that they're sent to in order to save Zordon's lives. And then they come across the like sorceress Amazon. I don't know what you would call her, but like she's there and she gives them back like new powers. And then she's like, Adam, you're a frog. And she's like, just like the one you kiss. And yeah, I always thought she was super, super attractive. I think she was like, it was like one of those things where she's there for the dads that are forced to take their kids to see this movie. And then we got Blossom in the house. How's it going, Blossom? And then we got Peg C in the house as well. Hey guys, how's it going? Going good. And then we got Sam Snowswell, 2402. Hi guys, you okay? I just rewatched VR Trooper season 1 and also Power Rangers Rail Riders fan series. Series Zenith Films, and they are starting filming Beast Hunters adapted Zeogre. Oh, Zeogre. I think, yeah, that's the animal themed one. Okay. Yeah, I always love it when fans kind of create their own like kind of Power Ranger series based on the either based on Sentai or sometimes just making completely original footage from the start. There was one, I think it was called Unworthy Productions. I've recently stopped keeping up with them, but there was a while where I kept keeping up with Unworthy Productions, and I absolutely loved their whole series. It was basically, you had the very first Power Ranger as the main villain, and his whole thing is that he just doesn't think that anyone is worthy of accessing the morphing grid, so he goes around slaughtering like Power Rangers throughout the multiverse. Really cool, really awesome series. And just all the performances were incredible for what you get from, like, again, a series that isn't like, doesn't have a budget. The budget is whatever the people working on the movie give it. So incredible stuff. But yeah, that does it for our comments. I don't really have any honorable mentions. I didn't think of any. So I'm going to instead just go ahead and skip right into the articles. Before we actually begin the articles specifically, I do want to start by revealing, well, not revealing because you guys already know this, but we do have a new Fantastic Four trailer. So I figured we can kind of watch it. I've already seen it, but I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday where I just watch the trailer with you guys and I pretend that I'm reacting to it as if this is my first time seeing it. But yeah, I've definitely already seen the trailer, of course. Here we go. Fantastic Four.
Famous around the world, please welcome the Fantastic Four. Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch.
I love you, Johnny.
And the Thing.
Hey, what time is it? Say the thing.
That's not really something I say.
It's clobbering time.
That's just in the cartoon. Never late for Sunday dinner. Let's eat.
Hey, what time is it?
It's dinner time. Get inside.
I herald his beginning. I herald your end. I herald Galactus.
What is that? Get us out of here, Ben! Hold on! Are we safe?
I don't know. The clock is ticking.
Oh, that's cool. So their kids
We are
actually,
going to find a
man. So
solution.
this movie must
We are
take
gonna
place
make it
over
right.
like the span of like a long
You
time
wanna
because
just
like
crush him.
we see
like
we see her like when she's just like pregnant. Now we see that she actually does have a
The four
kid
of us
later
will face
on.
the danger. We will protect you.
So this movie must take place over the course of like maybe a year or 9
Family.
months at
It's
the
about
very least.
connecting to something bigger than yourself. We'll face it together. As a family.
Family.
What time is it, Ben? No. What time is it, Ben? No, Johnny. Say it! I don't wanna! Say it!
But yeah, looks. What else can I say that I haven't already said about this in the past? Like it looks great. I absolutely love those new looks that we have. Sorry, my bad. I love those new looks that we have of Galactus. Like, I do really enjoy the fact that we're gonna be seeing like a good mixture of CG and practical effects. Like, it seems like when he's gonna be on Earth, we'll see him kind of more in the costume. But I like how when we're at his kind of home base and everything, it looks a lot like there looks like there is a pretty CG heavy kind of area. And then same with like when they're putting the costume on him or when he's like getting the suit upgrade and all that looks very CG heavy, but that's fine. I like that there's a good mix in this movie of the two. But yeah, like everything looks fantastic in this, no pun intended. I also, okay, so I don't think I've ever seen, maybe I haven't forgotten, but I don't think I've ever seen the Thing with a beard. So like, that was kind of funny at the end, it kind of reminded me of Doomsday from Superman, having the rock beard and everything. I think it looked kind of awesome, but definitely I'm curious why we only get that for one shot in the entire trailer. So it's like, is that like a thing that happens maybe in the very beginning of the movie or maybe at the very end of the movie, or maybe just some point in the middle he stops shaving for no particular reason? I'm kind of curious why it's only that one shot we see him with the beard. But yeah, looks great. But of course, guys, let me know your thoughts of the trailer in the comments below. And then we got Ricky asking when Adam's coming back. That is a very good question. I honestly thought he was going to be back this week, but unfortunately, I guess he's having issues with his laptop. So he's currently trying to figure out that whole situation. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope that he is back next week. But we will find out. But that all out of the way, let's get into the articles, guys. Guys, I'm going to rip this Band-Aid off right now because this one's hard to talk about. Actually, that's funny. There's not even a banner up for it. But guys, there is no God. All right. I'm just going to rip that Band-Aid off right now. And how do I know this? You may be wondering what led me to like suddenly shift in tone, like from being all happy about Fantastic Four to now suddenly existential crisis. Well, I'm going to tell you guys right now. We have news that another Transformers movie is in development, and we've known this for a while now. We've known that at the very least there was interest in a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover like in development. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore because now it is announced that Michael Bay wants to return to the franchise. And I just think of that line from South Park, guys. Michael Bay is still allowed to make movies. There truly is no God, okay? But let's get into this. Michael Bay planning Transformers franchise return. But what does this mean for the G.I. Joe crossover plan? Well, let's get into this. This is from comicbookmovie.com. Now, the article, this doesn't cover like the article. This isn't the exclusive of Michael Bay coming back to the franchise. I believe that was done on Deadline or Variety, but this is more of a discussion article, I believe, from the title. I didn't actually read it. I just took the link that Adam gave me, but I guess we'll kind of get into this and find out if this truly means that the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover is dead, and instead we're just going to be replacing it with more expensive frat humor. But we'll find out. Michael Bay helmed 5 Transformers movies, all of which were huge box office hits. Critics didn't love them, and fans were mixed, but the least successful of his films still made $605 million, with the most successful grossing $1.1 billion. Bumblebee, Transformers Rise of the Beast, and Transformers 1 didn't find the same level of commercial success, even with better reviews. But is Bay the right person to portray, is Bay the right person to restore the property to its former box office glory? According to Puck, the filmmaker is developing a new Transformers movie at Paramount Pictures that he intends to direct. While he wiped his hands of the franchise with Transformers Last Night, when Transformers Last Night underperformed in 2017, his recent movies haven't come close to Transformers numbers. This site explains Bay approached the studio last year to come back as a hands-on producer and possibly director, and he's got a writer, Jordan Van Dien, working on the script. It's one of 5 or so Transformers projects in development that David Ellison and Skydance will inherit if/when the Paramount sale closes. Josh Cooley, who made last year's animated Transformers 1, just closed the deal to pursue a live action take. The report continues. There's also a possible G.I. Joe Transformers crossover in development, and the studio has 2 separate ideas in early stages. It seems there's no rush to make these Transformers movies. Paramount will retain the rights, provided one of the projects listed above is in production by 2029. With Bay back in play, it appears the highly anticipated G.I. Joe Transformers crossover is no longer a sure thing. Van Dien is best known for writing Supermansion, Animaniacs, and the upcoming Dodgeball 2. What? Dodgeball 2? What? This is my first time hearing about this. What the hell? However, we're sure many of you are eager to see what Cooley has in mind for the property after Transformers 1. Promoting Ambulance in 2022, Bay reflected on 2007's Transformers. The first one was scary. It was technically we didn't know would work, and then it became very successful. It was the first time digital effects were that highly reflective, so it broke a lot of new ground. And so I'm not going to deny that. Here's the thing when it comes to the Transformers movies. I think what I hate the most about the Transformers movies, and yes, I will say hate. I know like a few weeks ago, I went on this whole thing where I talk about how I cringe at myself when I think about how much hate I had for these Transformers movies. And I think I was lying to myself when I said that on Hero Report. The truth is, I do hate these movies. I actually do hate the existence of these Transformers movies. I really do. And it's a part of me that I cringe at. Please note, I am cringing at myself right now as I say this. But yes, the Transformers movies do genuinely piss me off. And I think the main reason is because at times they look fucking incredible. It's like these are movies that like have so much potential, and you got Michael Bay, who is a director that I'm not going to deny he knows what he's doing in terms of when it comes to filming these movies. Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast. All right. So both of them all right films, especially in terms of writing. I think Rise of the Beast is probably the best written Transformers movie, as it's the one where, we actually care about the characters. There's actually a through line when it comes to the character arcs and developments. It's a great movie. However, I will say this, and it kills me to say this, guys. The first 5 Transformers movies are still the best looking out of them, because one thing they do better than Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast is they do make you feel like you're actually at ground level watching these, fights. Now, I don't think that, one thing that I'll say, though, to counter that, is that, yes, not every Transformers fight should feel like that, but for the most part, you do want to have like a good balance. Like when the humans are involved in a fight, like in the first movie, I think with Shia LaBeouf, like, running through the city, you do want to have that ground level perspective on the destruction. And I think that's something that Michael Bay actually does a really good job at. Whereas, Transformers Rise of the Beast, again, you have great writing in that movie, but when it comes to the Transformers effects, while they're good, they're not bad by any means. They never really feel like they're actually there. At times, it feels like you're watching almost 2 movies clipped together. You're like a Power Rangers episode. You know what I mean? Because like, look at Power Rangers, for example. You get the fight scenes which come from Sentai footage. Not all the fight scenes, obviously, but, the Sentai footage fight scenes, which are spliced into the show. So it's like you're watching 2 different shows at times. That's what it feels like in Rise of the Beast. You're watching these full CG rendered fight scenes with the Transformers where the humans are kind of cropped in, but you never feel like they're actually there. It feels like, you're splicing CG footage from the computer, and then you're splicing it with live action footage, so we're seeing, it feels like we're seeing 2 different movies, which I know that's how every, expensive movie is made. I'm not trying to say Rise of the Beast is the only one that does this. I'm just saying it's noticeable in Rise of the Beast compared to the Michael Bay movies, where the humans feel like and the Transformers feel like they're just in that same world together. And it pisses me off that Michael Bay is so good at that, and yet the writing is always just atrocious. And I know he's not the main writer, but he is the director. He picks the writers most of the time, and he can still choose what stays in the script and what doesn't. Essentially, when you're doing a Transformers movie, you usually got like 5 or 6 writers on each one of them. So as the director, you get to pick and choose which parts of the writing from all the different drafts you get to keep in the final production. So in a way, he kind of is writing it. He's taking the pieces that are there, putting them together into his own script. So in a way, I would call him a writer for these movies. So even if he's not the main source of the writing, regardless, the writing is so atrocious in all 5 of them. The acting is so atrocious in all 5 of them. Everything about these movies is so bad, except for the actual directing. Like, that is what he's confident with. And I think that's why these movies piss me off, is because I see that there's like, there's a chance for there to actually be a good movie. If someone if you give it to someone who's actually willing to love the property, who actually takes it, I don't want to say takes it too seriously, but takes it seriously enough as a job, to actually do a good job to produce a quality product, you could have something. You would still have the people that go to see it just for the fun, the action, and all that. So you would still make a crap ton of money. It's just put a little more effort into the writing. Don't just constantly go to the lowest denominator, in terms of its humor, in terms of its writing. It constantly goes for, I want to say that it goes for the lowest hanging fruits, but that's giving it too much credit. It doesn't go for hanging fruits at all. It goes for the fruits that have already fallen onto the ground and are completely basically rotted into the freaking grass. But instead of just letting nature take its course, they just take that rotted fruit up and then they throw it into the script. That's the writing of the Transformers movies. It's just I hate these movies. Okay, sorry. Back to the article itself. It was a fun, expensive. It was fun and it was a fun experience, he added. It made more than $709 million. That's a lot of movie tickets, and a lot of people have seen it. That is true. However, Bay also acknowledged that he should have walked away while the going was good. I made too many of them, Steven Spielberg said. I just stop at 3. I said, I said I'd stop. The studio begged me to do the fourth, and then that made $1 billion too. And then I said I'm gonna stop here, and they begged me again. I should have stopped. They were fun to do. Following a much needed break, it seems Bay is ready to make his Transformers return. That's bound to divide opinions, but for Paramount, it could be the best possible way to make the Autobots and Decepticons one of its biggest draws again. Stay tuned for updates as we have them. So yeah, that's the whole article. And again, my thoughts haven't changed. I don't want this movie, man. I don't want Bay to direct a Transformers movie. Give it to a director that actually likes Transformers. Give it to anyone else. Unless Bay is willing to work with someone who actually wants to put effort into writing the script. If Bay is willing to work with someone who actually has a vision, then yes, I'm cool with him staying. But he's failed 5 times. I know failed is the wrong word on a technical level because, again, they're all financial, successful movies. But, it's like he's made 5 atrocious films, and yet, he's still... So it's like I don't trust that he has an actual vision for this. I think what it comes down to is that his last few movies that he made didn't make the big box office numbers he was hoping for, and so he just sees Transformers as easy money, and that's why he wants to come back to the franchise. But yeah. Again, I know I cringe at myself as I say all this. It's really dumb. These are just movies. It's fine, but I don't know. It's just I look at the franchise for Transformers and I see so much potential, and I see that they were finally tapping into that potential with Transformers Rise of the Beast and Transformers 1. And it just sucks, that they're throwing it all out and going back to Michael Bay. And what sucks is that because there's been a little bit more time, there's probably going to be more time between Transformers Rise of the Beast and his new upcoming Transformers movie than there was between Rise of the Beast and Bumblebee. It's likely that this movie is going to be a big success, and Hollywood's going to take the wrong message, and they're going to go, oh, Michael Bay directed another Transformers movie and it made another $1 billion. Clearly, he's the formula we need to make more money off of these. But yeah, I don't know. I'll stop because I need to actually move on to the other articles. But you heard it here. Michael Bay is directing Transformers. This is all the proof we need that God is not real. No God would ever let such a horrible, horrible disaster like this happen. But again, at the end of the day, that is just my A+ opinion, which happens to be a fact. Please note, I'm mostly being sarcastic throughout this whole rant. I really hope that was obvious. But if not, yeah. Regardless, let's move on for real this time. Moving on to one of my favorite directors in Hollywood. Here we go. A perfect transition. We got Denis Villeneuve. I always pronounce his last name wrong. I'm so sorry. But Denis is going to be directing a new James Bond film, or at the very least, he is currently set to direct the next upcoming James Bond film. But the question is this really the direction the franchise should be going? Well, guys, let's talk about it. Let me just pull the article up, and here we go. Oh, never mind. I am wrong. It is confirmed he will direct the next James Bond film. Amazon MGM Studios has revealed with Tiana Leponite or Lepone. I don't know. Signing on as an executive producer, as previously announced. Amy Pascal and David Heyman will serve as producers. Amy Pascal, she's the one who's also with Sony, correct? Some of the earliest movie going memories are connected to 007. I grew up watching James Bond films with my father ever since Dr. No. Dr. No with Sean Connery. I'm a diehard Bond fan. To me, he's sacred territory. I intend to honor the tradition, open the path of many new missions to come. This is a massive responsibility, but also incredibly exciting for me and a huge honor. Amy, David, and I are absolutely thrilled to bring him back to the screen. Thank you, Amazon MGM Studios, for their trust. That's cool. I had no idea Denis was a huge James Bond fan, but he sounds super, super excited to do this. And we've seen what he can create when he's passionate about a project. Look at Blade Runner 2049, look at the Dune franchise and how amazing it's gotten so far. But yes, we got Mike Hopkins, head of Prime Video and Amazon MGM Studios, added, "We are honored that Denis has agreed to direct James Bond's next chapter. He is a cinematic master whose filmography speaks for itself. From Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, Dune, films he has delivered compelling worlds, dynamic visuals, complex characters, and most importantly, immersive storytelling that global audiences yearn to experience in theaters. James Bond is in the hands of one of today's greatest filmmakers, and we cannot wait to get started on 007's next adventure." Yeah, I actually couldn't agree with this article anymore. Again, yeah, amazing director, everything he's given us. I don't remember if I've seen all of his movies at this point, but I've definitely seen a good chunk of them because I've seen Arrival, seen Blade Runner, seen the Dune movies. God, what else has he directed that I've seen? He also oh God, did he do what was that called? The Josh Brolin movie. I mean, obviously I can't even remember the name of it. So, but I do remember I really did enjoy it back in the day. I didn't love it quite as much as his other films, but I thought it was good for what it was. But yeah, that was that is exciting news, I think, for the James Bond franchise. For me, I really do enjoy James Bond as a franchise. There are aspects, of course, about the original movies that I do find quite dated, because I went on like this whole binge when the last Daniel Craig James Bond movie was coming out, and my fiance and I actually watched through all the James Bond movies, and that included two that weren't even part of the main ownership. What is the ownership? I totally forgot. It's like Eon or something. I can't remember. But there were two that we watched that technically weren't part of it. One of them was the 1960s. It was really more of a parody movie, but it was Casino Royale from the 1960s. And the best way to describe it is like, imagine if Monty Python made a James Bond film. That's what you would get. And it was pretty funny. It was weird because like Orson Welles played the main villain. So it was weird seeing him in a role that he doesn't take himself way too seriously over. Although I guess you could also say the same thing about like when he voiced Unicron in the Transformers movie from 1984, which apparently was the last one he did before he had passed away. That all being said, though, yeah, cannot be more excited to see where the franchise is going. Likely it'll be another reboot, kind of like what they did with Daniel Craig. I do think it was always fascinating to me because like when I was binging the series, when they went from one Bond to the next, they tried to imply that it was still the same continuity right up until we got to Daniel Craig. That was kind of like from Sean Connery to Pierce Brosnan. We were basically seeing the same James Bond throughout all the franchise. But then we get to Daniel Craig, and that was the first time they like officially made it clear that this was a reboot of James Bond. This was not the same James Bond that we had seen in the past. And I think that was kind of like the good direction to go at this point. This is because also with Daniel Craig, it was kind of the first time where everything felt very important, like continuity wise. Like you really did need to watch all of them together. The movies could stand on their own for the most part, but it felt like you got more out of them from watching them all together. Like it felt like there was actual character arc for James Bond throughout all the different movies, compared to the original James Bond movies where his character changed in the movies individually, but didn't really carry through from one movie to the next, yeah, overall, excited to see where the franchise goes. I kind of hope they go the route of Daniel Craig, where they reboot it, but within this reboot, we have a consistent continuity that, maybe they can foreshadow some things from other James Bond movies that we might get to see again on the big screen, but we'll see. But that's going to do it for that. Our next article, for all of you video game fans out there, is about Street Fighter. We have a new announcement for who's joining the Street Fighter movie. I actually can't remember if we've talked about the Street Fighter movie in development on this channel before. If we have, it has been a minute. So here we go. More Street Fighter news. All right, so we got Curtis 50 Cent Jackson joins Jason Momoa, Noah, and the Street Fighter in the new Street Fighter movie. Curtis, or sorry, I'm just going to say 50 Cent. 50 Cent is taking it to the street. The rapper turned actor and entrepreneur has joined the excellent, or I have no idea. The cast of Street Fighter. Legendary Entertainment features a adaptation of the classic Capcom video game. And what a diverse bunch it is. The call sheet ranges from A-list Jason Momoa as Blanca to heartthrob Noah as Ken to gay country singer Orville Peck as Vega. I love how they had to like highlight the fact that he was gay, because they're like, we're super diverse, guys. We really do care that, and that's not me like trying to sound all anti-woke. I swear to God, I am not anti-woke. Please do not put me within that category. I just found it funny that they felt the need to highlight that specific aspect about the country singer. We also have Joe, aka WWE superstar Roman Reyes, as martial artist actor Andrew Koji are on the roll call as battler Akuma and the lead character Ryu, respectively. Oh, and then we also have Kalina Lang as Chung Li. So awesome. Looks like a pretty stacked cast. Jackson will play Balrog, a disgraced boxer who is also the bodyguard of the villain. Sources say that he is in deep training for the part and will be doing his own stunts for the picture. Now that is incredible. I love it when an actor is willing to go that far. Legendary has no comment. Kito Sakuria, I guess from the Eric Andre show. Oops, sorry, I accidentally lost my place there. Is directing the feature, which begins production in August in Australia. Legendary co-developing and co-producing alongside Capcom. Plot details are being kept under wraps. Here's my hopes for the plot details, actually, because this kind of goes back to my thoughts on what they should have done for Mortal Kombat. Please, guys, just make it a tournament fighter movie. Make it just a tournament film. You can still have a lot of fun. You can still do a lot of creative things with that. I just, I don't think we need to set up a tournament. I think we should just go straight to the tournament and maybe let the sequels do something else besides a tournament fighter film. But I think you could still, that could be the movie and you would have a great film. Give us a perspective of all the main characters. Give us a reason to want to root for a different character for, the audiences. But of course, it's got to come down at the end to either Ryu or Ken fighting to compete against Bison and save the world. I don't know. I actually don't know the story of Street Fighter. Truth is, I played Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 4. And of course, Marvel versus Capcom, if that counts. But I never actually kept up with the story. When it came to Street Fighter 4, I never played the story mode. So I don't know what the actual full story is when it comes to Street Fighter. I just know that I like to punch things and I love fighting games, but yeah, I don't actually put an effort into, learning about the lore behind it or anything. So, I think making it a tournament fighter is just a good way to go. So Street Fighter began as an arcade game in the 1987 and reached pop culture height with 1991 Street Fighter 2, which revolutionized one-on-one playing. Street Fighter 6, the latest game in the franchise, was released June of 2023 and won the award for Best Fighting Game at the 2023 Game Awards. The Grammy-winning Jackson, who has sold over 300 million albums, is known in Hollywood circles for his TV empire fueled by the various Powers series for Stars. His G Unit film and television also produced ABC's For Life and recently completed production on on season 4 of Black Mafia Family for Stars, along with season 2 of the Black Mafia Family dossiers. So I've never heard of either of those, but clearly they are successful. So with him coming to the franchise, yeah, I mean, from movies I've seen him in, he definitely knows what he's doing. I think they got a good pick. I'm definitely excited to see what a Street Fighter movie could look like if given to the right director. I think that, you know, the problem is they hadn't quite figured out how to make video game movies when the first Street Fighter movie came out. And then I could be remembering this wrong, but I think when the other live action Street Fighter movie came out, the one from like, what was it, like 2009, 2008, I think the reason that movie was a disaster, and please in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the script was in development during the time of the writer strike. So much like with Dragon Ball Evolution, the script got written by a scab, and it was by someone who also just didn't know the source material. Again, please correct me. Please fact check me if that is not correct. That is just how I remember it, because that was 2009, and I didn't bother to look it up because I didn't really know what articles I was going to be going through today, yesterday. So I didn't have a chance to look anything up. So that being said, that is just how I remember it. But yeah, I do think that Street Fighter movies definitely do have a lot of potential, you know, especially with the huge, you know, amount of variety of different characters that you got within the Street Fighter video games. I just hope they have fun with it. They don't take it too seriously, but they also, you know, they don't use that as an excuse to be just completely lazy about the script. I do think that there's a lot of potential, and I would love to see that play out. So yeah, but of course, guys, at the end of the day, those are just my A+ opinions about the Street Fighter movie in development. Please let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. But that all being said, we got 2 more articles left. This one, I'm just gonna kind of go through really fast because I really don't have much to say on it, unfortunately. But don't worry, everyone. I have saved the best article for last. So keep it tight. So here we go. Before we get to the best article for last, let's talk about Wednesday, everyone. Wednesday Season 2's new Pugsley update teases a Nevermore team up I can't wait to see. This article comes from Screen Rant. Let me bring the screen up real quick. And boom, here we go. With the Addams Family set to return November to Nevermore Academy, Isaac Ordonez expanded role as Pugsley offers Wednesday Season 2 a new opportunity to develop its supporting cast. The Netflix series, based on the Charles Addams iconic character, sees the titular daughter of the Addams family, played by Jenna Ortega, attending the previously mentioned school for outcasts, ultimately finding herself caught in various mysteries. Despite her misadventures in Season 1, bringing the school to a shocking closure, Wednesday Season 2 will see her return to Nevermore, now honing her new powers as new secrets emerge. Season 1 of Wednesday, the leading character was largely removed from her family, having been sent to Nevermore after enacting a drastic revenge prank on Pugsley's tormentors at school. As such, Morticia Gomez, Pugsley, and Lurch only played small roles, while Fred Armisen's Fester made guest appearances to aid Wednesday's investigation. Season 2 will not see the characters return, Season 2 will not only see the characters return, but also expand on the family roster with the introduction of Joanna Lumley as Grandma Adams. I actually don't remember that character from the original series. It's also been so long since I've watched either the Addams Family series or the Addams Family movies from the 90s. Excuse me. With Wednesday season 2 seeing Wednesday make the surprising move to her family by choosing to willingly return to Nevermore, she will not be alone. She will not be the lone Addams at the school. Seemingly pleased by Wednesday's experience, Pugsley is also enrolled at the academy, though it is unclear whether this is a willing choice or because he had followed his sister's footsteps with his own revenge pranks. Furthermore, Pugsley is also shown to be developing his own powers, gaining the ability to harness static electricity, like his uncle Fester. Sounds like kind of a cool development. Yeah, I mean, like, again, I never finished Wednesday season 1. I just kind of got bored halfway through with it. Not that I thought it was a bad show, just wasn't a show for me. But yeah, I mean, bringing back Pugsley, pretty cool. I do kind of like that. The main thing that started her going to the academy to begin with was her kind of like standing up for her little brother, who she constantly like kind of belittles in a lot of ways, acts like she doesn't really care about, but like deep down, she does care about him. And I can't wait to see that kind of, I say I can't wait, like I'm going to see it, but I assume that's going to be what they expand on within the show. And take a quick break before we get into this last article. Yeah, not used to reading the articles, used to more just like playing off of Adam after he reads it. And yeah, so this is definitely new for me. Yeah, and I also I wish I could say I went through these articles before reading them out loud live on live viewer questions, but I think we all know that would be a lie. All right, but here we go, guys. I saved the best for last because I've mentioned before how excited I am for this reboot because as a kid, one of my favorite shows of all time, hands down, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And that show is, of course, getting a reboot. And here we go with an article talking about Sarah Micheller's goals when it comes to the new Buffy reboot. And honestly, okay, so I actually didn't see what the full title of this article was when I was getting it ready. I actually thought, the article's title was simply Sarah Micheller's goal for the Buffy reboot, but it turns out it's Sarah Micheller's goal for the Buffy reboot is to bring back everyone who has died on Buffy for the Buffy reboot. Okay, before I get into the article, I'm just going to give my thoughts, and I'm sure the article will have this statement make a lot more sense. There are some deaths I hope they don't take back. Tara, I get why they would want to take that death back. That was, it's like funny because you hear about the term bury your gays. And I think the main cause of that whole like kind of discourse came from Tara from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because it seemed like right when she was really starting to come into her own, right when she was really starting to be her own character, and it was also right when she and Willow worked things out after they had gotten into a huge fight that it seemed like ended their relationship for good. They finally got back together. What happens? She dies because of some idiot with a gun. And it felt, I can definitely see why a lot of Buffy fans absolutely hated that, and why it suddenly coined the term bury your gays. So it was a death that a lot of fans don't like, so I totally get that. One death I hope they don't take back, though, because I think it was super important for the show and for both the development of Buffy and Dawn, was the death of their mother. It was one of the most incredible moments in the show, mostly because there was nothing supernatural about her death. It was so bizarre watching this for me, because I was so used to everything always had a supernatural reason behind it. But here you had the most, down to earth kind of moment from the show, and it's something so dark, so tragic that happens to everyone at some point in their life, and that's just the simple, death. And what sucked is that, it happened right when it seemed like their mom was getting better, and then suddenly, just out of nowhere, she's gone. So it was a really, really dark moment in the show, but I think it was a really good kind of character development moment for Buffy and Dawn, and it helped Buffy go from being kind of like the older sister to having to kind of be a mother figure to Dawn. She couldn't just be Dawn's sister anymore. It's kind of the same dynamic, I guess you could say, as Lilo and Nani from Lilo and Stitch, except for obviously Dawn was a lot older than Lilo, but still it's kind of that same thing of, now Buffy kind of has to take her life, put it on pause in order to take care of Dawn. It was such a good moment in the show, and I think that bringing her back would kind of cheapen it, but that's just my opinion. But again, I wanted to get that out there before I delved into the article. Now that I've said that, let's get into the article and see what they specifically mean. Sarah Michelle Gellar is hoping some original Buffy the Vampire Slayer characters rise from the dead in the forthcoming reboot. The actress who led the original series for 7 seasons from 1997 to 2003 is reprising her role as Buffy Summers in the reboot. Star Wars Skeleton Crew actress Ryan Kira Armstrong also has been cast in the new Hulu series as the new young Slayer. Cool. During a recent interview with Vanity Fair, Italia Gellar teased the Buffy reboot as well as who she would like to see return. It will be lighter than the last few seasons of the original, she shared. We will try to find a balance between new and old characters. My dream is to bring everyone who has died, to bring back everyone who has died, but space will have to be made for new stories as well. While the Dexter original Sin star admitted she's very lucky she didn't feel pressured, the pressure that today's actors feel with social media when she starred as Buffy, she also wanted to make sure the reboot includes modern themes, issues, and storylines. One of the surprising aspects of Buffy is that it's always been a crossover series, Gellar added. We're trying to figure out how to modernize the themes of the series, especially with what it means to feel like an outsider in a world dominated by social media. What we want to explore are the space-time boundaries that affects society today. Most details surrounding the reboot, which Hulu is referring to as the untitled Buffyverse pilot, are being kept under wraps. Gellar is also an executive producer, or executive producing the series. Oh, wow, that was it? Okay, that's interesting. I thought from the title she was like actually saying she wanted to bring more of the dead characters from Buffy back. I thought there was going to be a lot more to that. What the hell? Regardless, I am a huge Buffy fan, so I am really excited for this reboot to be coming out. I think there is a lot of potential, and I love what she said about wanting to try to modernize it. Especially because, like they said in the article, Buffy has always been kind of a crossover. While, yes, there's always been kind of a villain of the week, there's always been like, a new monster she must fight. When you look at the first 3 seasons of the show, most of the monsters can always be chalked down to being metaphors for different issues that you may deal with in high school. Whether, it be, I think one of my favorite examples is, when you have this cheerleader who does not want to be a cheerleader at all. Sorry, my bad. I was describing the plot wrong. God, what was it? It was that you had someone who, seemed to really want to be a cheerleader, but felt like what she thought was like a lot, what Buffy assumed to be a lot of pressure from her mom, but then they go to visit, and there's this whole weird twist where it turns out that the mom had actually switched bodies with her daughter in order to be able to relive her glory days in high school. And it's kind of just this overall really good metaphor for like kind of generational pressure. You get like the parents who are like, they will either want to relive their glory day, or maybe they had like an injury or something, and so they didn't get to go all the way like they wanted to, so they put that pressure on their kids. They're like, you got to live the life that I wanted to live, that kind of a thing. And I think that was something that gets addressed very well in Buffy. And that's just one example, but there are like many others. Another episode I absolutely loved was there's one where she's able to suddenly read everyone's minds, and for the longest time, because obviously she's the main character, and of course she's fighting vampires, so in her mind it's like she's clearly got it the worst at the school, right? Clearly she's the one who has it harder than anyone. But then you get this episode where she's able to read people's minds, and it was like kind of that moment where she finally like had that moment of self-reflecting of like, wow, everyone has problems, not just me. And I think episodes like that are just really what made the show amazing. And then it didn't stop there. After she graduated high school, she had to balance, very similar to like other heroes that grow up later on. They have to balance their work life with their superhero life, and trying to figure it out. It's always a struggle. And, and the best part about it, she makes mistakes. She is not perfect, and she makes mistakes, and we see her overcoming these mistakes and trying to become better in the end. And it's an amazing series. If you guys have not watched Buffy, it's cheesy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that every episode is an absolute masterpiece. There's definitely some bad episodes, especially during the first season. But man, I absolutely love it, and I cannot recommend it enough to you guys to check it out. But that all being said, guys, it's time to wrap up the articles and move on to live viewer questions. Now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions. All right. Looks like we got a few today, not too many. Oh no, there's looks like there's a WWE question in here, so I'm unfortunately not going to be able to answer it the way you might want, unfortunately, but I will do my best. All right. First one comes from Marcelino Vasquez, and God damn it, of course it's not letting me load the whole question. It does this every now and then. Oh wait, here we go. Now I can. Awesome. Okay, it looks like there's 3 questions, but they're all pretty short. First question is, do you hate Amy Schumer like everyone else? She's the comedian, right? If she's the comedian, let me double check real quick. Making sure I'm not thinking of the wrong person. Oh yeah, her. I mean, I don't really have any reason to hate her. I mean, I'm sure, like most people in Hollywood, she might be a terrible person. But like, she hasn't done anything that's come into my radar, except maybe try. Okay, so she had this whole thing about the Barbie movie. I remember, because she was originally the one who wanted to, like, I think either produce and star in it. And the way. I can't even remember. Actually, I'm not going to say it because I might be remembering it wrong. So just in case I'm wrong, I'm not gonna say it. I think I remember her being petty about it, but I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. But yeah, that's the only like Amy Schumer controversy thing I know of. So if there's more, yeah, feel free to let me know. But yeah, I don't have any reason to hate her at this moment. What did you think of Young Justice's interpretation of the Killing Joke, where instead of Batgirl being attacked by the Joker, it was instead Batgirl jumped in front of the Joker, who was Orphan's target, causing Orphan to strike instead to prevent the Joker. Instead to the Joker, it was God. Man, sorry, I am like low-key dyslexic, so I do apologize. So let me just start this question from the beginning. What do you think of Young Justice's interpretation of the Killing Joke, where instead of Batgirl being attacked by the Joker, it was instead Batgirl jumped in front of the Joker, who was Orphan's target, causing Orphan to strike her instead of the Joker, to prevent Orphan from becoming a killer. Oh, okay, gotcha. Honestly, not a bad change. I like the Killing Joke comic book, but I'm not really mad if they don't keep that canon to like every single like Bat universe where Batgirl becomes, Oracle. I really don't mind that, because as much as I like the comic book and I love the ending of the comic book, I love the ending of that comic. I understand that even the writer, it was Alan Moore, right? Let me double check that. I want to fact check myself really quick. Yes, it was Alan Moore. Okay, cool. So even he admits that at times it felt like it was a comic book written that was like a little bit edgy for the sake of being edgy. So it's not one of his comic books that he looks back in like fond memories of. Personally, again, I like the Killing Joke. I didn't love the movie adaptation of it, the animated one, but I thought it was okay. But yeah, I think the comic book works for the most part. I really enjoy it. Super dark, definitely one of the really much more darker DC comic books. But yeah, again, it was written as a one-off, like not even canon comic book, and then they just made it canon to the DC universe later on. Most likely because of how successful it was. But that being said, I don't see the need for it to be like the definitive version of Oracle, or the definitive reason we get Oracle in every DC universe. All right. There are rumors about the DCU cooking up a Huntress movie that will be in Korean. Other rumors suggest that Palm Clementif, I don't know, is in talks for the role. Is in talks for the role, and that the director of The Villainous by Gil Jung might direct. Now, obviously, there's no way of telling if these are fake or not currently, but regardless, what are your thoughts of these rumors? Well, I don't really think I know any of these names at the moment, so I'll have to definitely check them out later. Or actually, I guess I can look them up real quick just to see if I've seen anything they've worked on in the past. Oh wait, yeah, okay. So I have seen Palm in a few things. Sorry for butchering her last name. Yes, she is a great actress, and I think she would be perfect as a Huntress. Yeah, okay, cool. And then who would be the director? So he's worked on. Ooh, I haven't seen many of these movies, but The Villainous, Confessions of a Murder, Action Boys, they're all movies I've heard of, getting pretty good reviews. So, okay, so yeah, he's a director that definitely knows what he's doing. Yeah, I mean, if these rumors are cool, then awesome. Honestly, again, one of the things that I've appreciated about James Gunn and all the announcements that he's making about the upcoming DC universe is how he wants every movie to feel like, the director's very specific vision. And I think that if we're doing movies that aren't like, necessarily aimed at an American audience, I think that's like one way you could definitely, you could keep that word, that's one way you could really expand the world of the DCU and really make it feel like, very fleshed out. So I think that's a pretty awesome idea. All right, we got our next live viewer question, and it comes from Sam Snowswell. So we got hi guys, Street Fighter movie. My idea, who could play? Or sorry, one second. Sorry about that. I really needed to blow my nose and I couldn't find any tissues around. And man, I've just been last couple of days, I've just been waking up super congested. It like goes away usually by the time it hits the afternoon, but like in the mornings, like I don't know. Okay, sorry. So, Street Fighter movie. My idea who could play the villain, Rami Malek. Let me double check who that is. I think I've heard that name before. Oh, okay, yeah. So all right, so yeah, from Bohemian Rhapsody, Mr. Robot, No Time to Die, of course. Yeah, I could definitely see it. He does a good both like kind of I've seen him do both hero and villain. And I think he does a good job as both. So honestly, if you have him as Bison, yeah, I could definitely see it. I want to see him in the suit first before I say for sure, but I think that there's potential there. I heard Disney works on live action remake Winnie the Pooh Blustery Day. I hope they bring Gopher into a live action for the first time. I did not know this. They had another live action Winnie the Pooh movie called Christopher Robin, which came out like not that long ago, and I thought it was all right. It definitely felt like almost the exact same movie as Hook, but I thought it was good for what it was. Definitely. In fact, I loved because they had Ewan McGregor as the as Christopher Robin, and I love Ewan McGregor in anything that he's in. Oh, would you like to see a in Marvel Inhumans reboot series? I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't say it's like the number one thing I want to see from Marvel at the time, but I definitely wouldn't be against it. Next question comes from Jessica Friedman. Would you like to see flashbacks of Hank and Peggy's first time in Saudi Arabia in the new King of the Hill reboot? And with Elio bombing at the box office, do you think Pixar should just stick to making sequels to their past movies instead of original movies? And would you like to see a live action Frozen one day? For the first question, yes, I hope we get definitely some flashbacks with Hank and Peggy in Saudi Arabia. At first, I thought it was completely random when I heard that was going to be the premise of the reboot, that Hank was in Saudi Arabia for a while. Now he's coming back to Texas. But then I found out that was actually a very common thing for people, especially those working in the propane business. For it's like, you go into this kind of like small community, you work this job for like, several years, and then you get to come back home with retirement money. I hope for Hank's sake that everything worked out in his favor, but because sitcom got a sitcom, I'm going to assume that this came with strings attached. So maybe some taxes that he was never informed about. So when he gets back home, he's basically back where he started. I'm assuming that's the kind of direction that they're going to go with it, but I'm definitely excited to see how it all kind of turns out in the end. But yes, I do think that we are definitely going to get some I know, I not only think, I hope we get some flashbacks of the two of them in Saudi Arabia. And then yes, with Elio bombing at the box office. No, I don't think Pixar should stick to making sequels. I think they should keep going in original movies. I think the problem with Elio was they marketed it absolutely terribly. In fact, I didn't even know this movie was coming out this year until seeing the trailer for it in Lilo and Stitch. And I think that was the only time they had played the trailer was in Lilo and Stitch. I don't think it was really attached to any other big movies out there. And keep in mind, when it comes to like the movies, the big movies, even if I don't watch them all, I see the trailers for all of them because usually I'm in the theater greeting people, taking their orders while the trailers are going on. So Elio was not attached to anything except for Lilo and Stitch. They marketed it terribly. They only showed one trailer that barely really gave us an idea of what kind of movie it really was. I think that if Pixar was smart, they would market their movies better. They would push it forward more. It's Pixar. They used to, or I don't know. It's not that I don't think that they're not as good as they used to be. I think they're not the producers aren't as smart as they used to be. That's what it is. And those producers, whether it's like the actual heads of Pixar or the heads of Disney, I don't know. But whoever is in charge of that kind of aspect of Pixar, that is where they're falling apart, I think. And then as for a live action Frozen movie, I mean, I think I made my opinions clear. When it comes to live action Disney remakes, I am done with them. You know, one of these days, I don't know. I may go through every single one of them on Disney Plus and talk about why they just don't work as movies. Like the main mistake that I see all of them making is when you make changes to the themes, but then you keep the same through line, you don't have your movie's a mess. And I think that's every live action Disney movie they make, is that they change themes, they change elements, but they keep the same through line and they expect it to still work. And it never does. It never does. So, yeah, I can get a little more specific later, but it would be a long conversation kind of video. Maybe do like a full-on video essay about it. I don't know. All right. Next question comes from Blossom. Hey, do you guys remember Flashman? Oh wait, that's the Sentai series. Yeah, Flashman. The villain from there, a reconstructive environment empire mess. I used them as an old enemy of the Prism Force Rangers and renamed them the Nefarious DNA Empire. That's great. How'd it be if I had some of the villains brought back to life by the Nightmare Empire? I like it. Do it. And then the last question comes from Pugsley. What are your thoughts on the casting of the Street Fighter movie? Andrew Koji as Ryu, Roman Reyes as Akuma, Kalina Lang as Chun-Li, Jason Momoa as Blanca, Orville Peck as Vega, Noah Centino as Ken Masters, 50 Cent as Balrog. I think this is a pretty solid lineup so far. We got some pretty cool, pretty good actors, and I think that as long as the script is fun, I think we got the character chemistry, we got the actors with the potential. So now it's all gonna depend on the script and directing to see how it all fleshes out. But overall, like in terms of the casting, I think they're doing a good job so far. Did you ever watch the 1985 animated movie Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins? If so, what did you think of it? Unfortunately, I did not. I watched the original live action Mortal Kombat movie. I think that also came out in 1995, if I'm not mistaken. I enjoyed that movie. That movie's hella fun. Not the best written film, but it's not trying to be. It's just trying to be a fun tournament fighter, and I think it works. What are your thoughts on the Miz hosting a new version of American Gladiator, and were you a fan of the original show? I got to be honest, I wasn't, but I'm pretty sure Adam was. Too bad he's not here to answer this question. But if I remember correctly, I do believe Adam was a fan of American Gladiator. So I will try to remember to ask him that question next time he comes back onto the show. And here we go. Final question. Harold and Kumar 4 in the works. John Cho and Cal Penn expected to return. What are your thoughts? I love the Harold and Kumar movies. And John Cho and Cal Penn, I love their work that they've done on Cobra Kai and the work that they've done on the original, Harold and Kumar movies. I absolutely love those films. And heck, they even did one of the better American Pie sequels, American Reunion, which I really enjoyed. So honestly, them coming back for Harold and Kumar 4, I am all for it. A lot of people the one thing that I will majorly disagree with a lot of people is they talk about like the Harold and Kumar movies, like they're comedies of their time, that they don't hold up too much because there's a lot of quote unquote problematic jokes. I majorly disagree with that, because the big thing with Harold and Kumar is that there's a lot of, yes, there are a lot of racist jokes, but the racism, the jokes aren't like, the punchline of the joke isn't the fact that racism is funny. The punchline of the joke is always the racist people existing, the fact that these kind of people still exist in our world and we're just like letting it happen, kind of a thing. That's the punchline of the joke. It's like whenever you have an episode of South Park where Cartman is being extremely racist, we're not meant to laugh with Cartman. We're meant to laugh at Cartman, like later on when he gets his comeuppance. We're not meant to root for Cartman. We're meant to hate him. And that's kind of what it is in Harold and Kumar. We're not supposed to root for the bullies who are constantly picking on Harold and Kumar, because these bullies are racist. We're not laughing with them. We're meant to root for Harold and Kumar later. And, when they get their comeuppance in the end, that's what we're meant to root for. So it's like, I hear people talking about Harold and Kumar like they don't hold up anymore, like they are products of its time. And I couldn't disagree anymore. Like, I do think you could make the first Harold and Kumar today. Like, if we were to take Harold and Kumar off the timeline and we were to present it to theaters today, it would hold up. I will take that. I will die on that hill. Harold and Kumar can be made today. I will die on that hill. But yeah, at the end of the day, though, those are just my A+ opinions. We here at A+ Opinions always want to know your thoughts and everything. Definitely let me know your thoughts on this Harold and Kumar movie in the comments below. And, just anything that we talked about, of course, as a whole. But that'll do it for today. Thank you all for joining us. Just remember to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. But of course, guys, don't forget to take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I will talk to you all next week. Goodbye. Oh, I forgot to set the outro. Let me do that real quick so you got a really good outro to go out with. And boom!